Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about a hypothetical scenario that if I could only choose two ETFs for an income focus or retirement dividend portfolio, these are the two I would choose. And guys, it may come as no surprise. It's HDIV and HYLD from Hamilton ETFs. We're going to jump into this video, talk about the criteria, why I chose these. There's so many great income, monthly paying, high yield, bi-monthly paying ETFs now that this is actually a hard choice to make. But I'm actually just going to kind of break down the decisions why, in this hypothetical situation, these would be the two that I would pick. As always, guys, nothing here is financial advice. This is just a fun video, a hypothetical YouTube video. But please go ahead, hit that like button. I would really, really appreciate it. So HDIV, guys, right off the bat, what we want to look at is with both of these ETFs, we're looking at only two. So we want to make sure if we're picking only two ETFs, I was thinking, it's got to be stability. There's got to be some natural growth in there. And we got to have, a reputable long-term ETF company that we have history to look at, right? So Hamilton ETFs basically checks all of these boxes, guys. And when I look at this ETF here, you can see it's diversified, but you can also see there's over 1.3 billion assets under management. We have a 10.5% yield, monthly distributions, and it's a risk rating of medium. So this is nothing super crazy high risk, nothing super crazily concentrated in one sector where you might miss distributions or miss payouts for a month or get some crazy dividend cuts or anything like that. That's really not what we're expecting from either of these funds. The other thing is, with both of them, we scroll back and look at the distributions. You can see back in 2021, we had a monthly dividend of just under 12 cents a share. And that has only climbed with HDIV. That has climbed over 12, 13, and up and up and up. And we're currently sitting at over 18 cents per share on HDIV. The other thing with HDIV is that you can see the growth, you can see the outperformance of the TSX because HDIV has that great diversification in there. They've got a lot of Canadian financials. They've also got some gold producers, energy. US tech really kind of helps boost this portfolio as well. And then the innovation of Hamilton ETFs, another reason why I chose these two specific ETFs. Hamilton ETFs, they've kind of been in this game for a long time. They've constantly revolutionized both HDIV and HYLD, changing, taking the bonds out, changing up some of the ETFs inside, adding their new DayMax series. So you've got DayMax with C-Day and Q-Day inside of HDIV. And those are the zero DTE option ETFs to boost the yields and keep those, distributions growing, hopefully, and steady within these ETFs. But like I said, guys, HDIV, it's well diversified, great management. You've got that natural distribution growth in there, and then you've got that stability and long-term history as well. So those are the boxes checked here on HDIV. Okay, so that's the first one. After HDIV, we're going to jump into HYLD. A lot of people like to compare HYLD to HDIV as, a brother or sister ETF, but HYLD is purely a US play. It's purely focused on American stocks and equities. Little bit of a higher yield. You can see over 12.5% yield. But again, guys, we're looking at this ETF monthly distributions. You've got, a fairly long track record and history to look at. And then if we scroll down here to net assets, we're over 1 billion AUM. So, it's another popular ETF. A lot of people have piled money into this fund. It's been doing well. And then a risk rating of medium. So again, we're not super highly concentrated in one specific asset class. But again, guys, this is a pure US income ETF. So we've got large cap, US stocks with SMAX. We've got technology with both QMAX and QDay. You've got some blue chip US dividend stocks in there, SDay, DayMax ETF. But you've also got US financials, healthcare. You've got some gold producers in there, energy, and RMAX for some real estate. Again, guys, still using that 25% leverage. There's no bonds or fixed income in this one either. Now, we do have a distribution history in this one going all the way back to 2022. Couple things I'll mention here, though, is that we see these distributions change in about 2023. Hamilton, again, this is why I like Hamilton. They were innovating and changing, and they actually brought all of these fund of funds, ETFs that they're using, brought them in house, and they were able to increase those distributions again. So for investors that stayed invested, they saw those distributions start to come back. And, currently we're sitting at over 15 cents per share. That's been a consistent payout, since last year, right? So yes, there was some dividend fluctuation on this one, but to be fair, to give it to Hamilton, they were going through growing pains and stuff like that. So this one still, fits the bill for what we're looking for as far as sitting in those two ETFs, right? We've got those monthly distributions, got the medium risk rating, great management with Hamilton ETFs, natural dividend growth, and you've got exposure to a lot of different sectors and stocks. Now, let's talk about performance. Let's look at performance here, guys. I plugged this in against both the S&P 500 benchmark as well as a TSX 60 benchmark. And this is just a 3-year timeline, but we can actually see that as far as performance goes, HYLD and HDIV are not necessarily beating the S&P 500, although they are both beating the TSX 60 under XIU, as you guys can see here. S&P 500 ETF ZSP is in the lead with an 80% total return. HDIV coming in second with a 77% total return, and HYLD coming in third place at 73% total return. And then you've got XIU with 61%. But again, guys, I think total return is very important. But when we are looking at ETFs specifically that we, are talking about income focused or retirement financial freedom focused ETFs, we can only choose two. Total return, yes, is important, but it comes down to also being comfortable with what you're investing in, comfortable with the fund managers and all of the rest of that stuff. So having said all of that, guys, those are the reasons that I personally would choose Hamilton ETFs, HDIV and HYLD. And what I've done here is just modeled a hypothetical investment. So I made a video a little while ago about Kevin O'Leary saying $500,000 is enough, to make you financially free with today's different investment opportunities, ETFs, and tools. I actually thought maybe I'll scale that back to $400,000 and see what we could do with that. So what I did is take $200,000 invested into HYLD, $200,000 invested into HDIV. Again, guys, this is a hypothetical scenario, but you can see with HYLD over a 12.6% yield, HDIV close to 10%. But if you look to the far right, they both have that natural dividend growth. HDIV, it does have a higher dividend growth, but they've still both got natural dividend growth. And that's great because in this situation, we are modeling a 10-year investment cycle, and we are not investing any distributions at all. We are spending everything. Now, personally, in my own portfolio, I always aim to at least, reinvest 50%. I think, if you could do more than that, that's great. But in this situation, we chose HYLD and HDIV because we need that income. We need to spend it. We want dependable, reliable investment solutions. That's what we've gone with. Now, if we look at the next 12 months, so the first year of your investment, you'll be making about $48,000 per year. And then your target dividend income in 2036, 10 years out, is $97,633, guys. That's almost $100,000. That's basically doubled your growth in income in 10 years without even reinvesting anything. Now, of course, this is not guaranteed. We don't know if past performance will repeat. We don't know if HDIV will continue to have close to 12% dividend growth or any growth. But, this is modeled kind of off of what has been happening with these two ETFs. So in this situation, we would be looking at doubling our income in 10 years without reinvesting anything. We could spend absolutely everything we have. And that, in a nutshell, is why I would choose these two ETFs. Of course, there's a lot more. You could spend time, going through a lot of other, great new innovative ETFs that have come out. But because of the timelines, because of the distribution history that we have in the innovation, AUMs, risk ratings, all of the stuff that I described. That's why I would choose HYLD and HDIV as my only two. If I could only choose two engines, those would be the ones that I would go with. Anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, leave me a comment. I'll catch you guys in the next video.